All right, yo, welcome back to the Who's Right podcast. And again, another series loss, and not sounding the alarm just yet, but not liking it. But luckily, we did salvage the last game of the series. But before we get started, hey, like the video, subscribe to the channel, give us your comments, let us know what you're thinking. And Victor, how you doing?
I'm great. The Mets have problems, good and bad problems, and those were all prevalent this weekend. We got to see the good and all the bats that we have, all the problems. It stinks that we had to let go of Zach Short, but we kind of all saw that coming. But on the bad side, we have a pitching problem. Our starting pitching didn't show up, and it ended up losing us a game on Saturday. I can't say the same for Friday, because although Budo gave a couple of runs let go, it's the same thing what we were talking about. Our bats need to wake up and start stringing together some runs. But that's just my initial take. We'll get more into it as we go on through the show. But how about our boy Marky V?
Yeah. Hey, man, you coming out on fire, man. You getting all ahead of me, man. You getting excited. So let's just get right into it. Let's review the series. On Friday we had our man Budo pitch, and like you said, didn't have his best stuff. Him and the manager Mendoza were saying that he just didn't have a feel for his pitches on Friday, and from time to time that happens to a pitcher. But what I saw from Budo, that he didn't have his stuff, he wasn't feeling it, but he was still fighting. He was still trying to keep us in the game. And like you said, our bats didn't do anything, right? We only scored 2 runs. I know Michaelis is a good pitcher, but I think we could have gotten to him if our batters were batting,
Yeah, this just
hitting well.
this just seems to happen with the Mets, man. Like whenever we hit the ball hard, it's just always to somebody playing the field. And we hit Michaelis hard a few times, and you saw Brandon Donovan out there making a couple of plays. I think that was Friday, and or maybe that was Saturday. But that we were hitting the ball hard a little bit. We were hitting Michaelis hard, and we just couldn't get anything to land. I think I was watching the line as we went throughout the game, and we had more hits than the Cardinals going into the 6th inning. And it just, we just couldn't string them together. That seems to be a problem with this early in the season, that we're able to get hits, we're able to get on base, but we got to start playing team ball. But Budo, he looked great. Obviously, he gave up a couple of home run balls, but he settled down after that. And usually, when you see starters don't not continue to do well, they don't go more than 4 innings, more than 5 innings. But he went 5.2 strong. He was able to get through it, and I think he even might have been able to get through that last batter. But Mendoza showed us just how his baseball IQ. I think that was the biggest takeaway for me this weekend, was seeing Mendoza's baseball IQ at full strength, because in Sunday's game and in Friday's game, even in Saturday's game, he was really making some good decisions, and he pulled Budo when he needed to be pulled. But I think he'll bounce back. We'll get to see him this week, and hopefully he has a better start.
Yeah, no, for sure. And the biggest thing about game one was the inconsistency of Pete Alonso. To be honest with you, he came up with a threat in the first and didn't come through. And then the second inning, JD leads off and hits a single. So it's one of those things where we need to get consistency from both Lindor and Pete. I know Pete got his home run, but we'll get into game two in a little bit. But that's just the one thing that's coming out of this series in a whole is the inconsistency of Lindor and Alonso. It's kind of a glaring thing right now because in game one, we had Tomas Nido try to keep us in the game.
Yeah, and not just well, shout out to Nito because he's been looking like he's got his hair on fire these past couple of games. He might replace Omar Narvaez for the starting position at this point with the way he's been playing defensively and offensively because his whole thing was that he couldn't hit the ball, but now he's hitting the ball hard. Even in Sunday's game, he had a hard hit ball that just straight to the left to Brandon Donovan again, and but he's been looking really good, especially framing the ball. There was a couple of times where he framed the pitches really well for I can't remember who that were probably balls, but he pulled back into the strike zone, and you can just see the elite level of defense he's able to play back there. But not just not just Pete this series, but you saw Brandon Nimmo kind of have those same struggles. Hugh struck out a lot this series. Jeff McNeil popped out a couple of times, and it just seemed like every time we were able to get on base with no outs, we were kind of just killing the rally from the beginning, striking out, grounding out. But it was especially prevalent with Pete grounding into double plays left and right, and that's just the way it goes in baseball. But I just want to keep seeing him hit the ball hard, not chasing after things. I think Pete's going to be all right, but it's these other guys that I'm worried about. But how about the debut of JD Martinez?
Yeah, no, absolutely. So, we got the debut. He was looking good out there. We are eating crow, the both of us, because we didn't want JD Martinez on the team because of his age, but he's looking good. So, so far, so good. It's a guy that we need in the middle of that lineup, especially after Alvarez went down. And so I'm really liking what we're seeing out of JD. So that's a bright spot on Fridays for sure.
Yeah, and I can't say that we're completely wrong because we saw how great our depth was this weekend with being able to call in pinch runners or pinch hitters and Mark Vientos and DJ Stewart in those situations, and for both of them to be able to get on in those situations as well. So they've all looked good at that DH spot. Vientos playing at third, pinch hitting at third base, but even still, we saw that JD Martinez is only as good as his team is going to be, and that he can't win games by himself. He was able to get a couple of blasts in there. He was able to get a couple of base hits, single. But if we're not able to bring him in, or if he doesn't have anyone on base for him, then it's kind of gone to waste. So we learned this weekend that it's not going to rely on one player. Everyone was calling for or saying that all the Mets' problems were going to be solved when JD Martinez comes up, and we saw that that's not the case. That we still need these other guys to continue to produce, and we just need to start turning it on.
Yeah, no, for sure. So that's basically the story of game one. Good debut by JD Martinez, Budo fighting to keep us in the game, and the inconsistency of our bats to not keep us in the game. So moving on to game two, Sonny Gray started that game, but Hauser right off the bat giving up 4 runs in the first inning, and literally taking the wind out of our sails. Even though we started to come back towards the end of the game, we can't have starts like that. And this is, I don't know, this is the 4th start in a row that I can't even keep track at this point. That he's not looked good.
Yeah. Well, you're preaching to the choir here, man. I've been saying this from the beginning. Get him out of here. I don't care what you have to do. Because even in this start, from the bat, I had him I gave him the benefit of the doubt and said that he could have played that long reliever type of role and get in there for guys that, don't go as long. But when you're giving up 4 runs in the first inning, that doesn't even give your team a chance, and that doesn't even shout long reliever role because you didn't get one time through through the lineup. And so we have so many arms that are on their way back. I just can't wait for Hauser to be, DFA'd or to be um, put into the bullpen. I don't think he's going to be DFA'd, but because we have so many minor league options that we can send someone down. But I just can't wait for these other guys to come up, and it makes me continue to shout for other guys to be brought up in his place while we wait for these other guys. We continue to see Christian Scott pitch well. We continue to see Joey Lucchesi do well. And that's a guy that was like Jose Budo that everyone was counting out and doesn't want to give a shot. Why don't we give him a shot now? It seems like we need the pitching. And there was, back-to-back starts where we didn't have, or back-to-back games where we didn't have the best pitching, but we have so much depth in that farm system that I feel like we could really put it together. But
Yeah, no, and with the Joey Lucchesi, not the Christian Scott, because I don't think they're going to rush him up here, even though he looks good. But the Joey Lucchesi, I'm with you at this point. I don't understand why they can't put Hauser in the bullpen now and bring up Lucchesi, because in the meantime, if he's not producing, I know Mendoza said we got to get him right, we got to fix him at the end of the game. But it's been what four starts or so that he's looked relatively the same. I think I don't know if it was Gary or Keith mentioned that he lost his sinker, and for a ground ball pitcher to lose your sinker, that's a problem. So I don't know if that's hopefully you can fix that, but that's a true concern. And when we got a guy like Luke Casey down in AAA, why not give him a shot? And why not bring him up here?
Yeah, absolutely. We want to see those guys up, get their shots because they're not getting any younger. And they're not getting any more space. There's guys that are on the verge of coming up next year, and we're kind of, with our backs to the wall at the end of the season, where Hauser's going to be gone. Lucchese's still going to be here. And we got to see what we got with this guy so that, just like Mark Vientos, we got to see what we got with him, give him a shot to play in the major leagues while we have that chance to maybe loosen the payroll of Steve Cohen next year so that we're not having to go out and pay for these guys that are going to be in the free agent market, because we know that it's going to be a hot free agent market next year, but I don't think the Mets are going to want to be heavily involved with competing for all these guys if we have someone in our farm system. And this is one of those games that you felt like if we were just able to stay within reach, not give up 4 runs in the first inning. Those guys were hitting up Sonny Gray. He still had his stuff, but they were able to hit him around. And maybe if they had a little more life, they wouldn't have gotten on him so late until the 5th inning. But even then, it was too late because they were already down 7 runs. So it's just something that we hope that they change in the future, but we're gonna have to see.
Yeah, no, for sure. So and the lone bright spot of Saturday's game is Pete's 200th home run. I'm a guy that wants to see Pete stay with the Mets. Got his 200th hit, a home run yesterday, Saturday's game. But we gotta see some consistency, Pete. We gotta see you. You've been hitting some clutch home runs. But how much better would we be record-wise if we see some more consistency out of Pete?
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, that's one of those things that's why they got JD Martinez, right? So that they didn't have to rely on Pete. And we know that Pete's going to be able to produce runs. And it's just a matter of being able to back him up in that regard. Obviously, he kills rallies sometimes, and he doesn't always show up for these at bats. But this is what we're paying for. This is the power bat that we know that he's going to be. We want to see him be more consistent, but I'm okay with Pete blasting home runs every now and then and having the other guys kind of carry him when he's not.
Yeah, no, and I get that, but we still, for me, I still feel that we need more consistency out of Pete and out of Lindor. Even though we're going to move on to game three, where Lindor got us actually, it was a pitcher's duel, So Lance Lynn went five, but their bullpen kept us off the board for most of the game, and we had our first pitcher go past 6 innings, and not only did Quintana go past 6 innings, he actually pitched 8 innings. And if the defense was positioned properly, he might have had the win because that suicide squeeze I blame on the positioning of the defense, because there was no way that Beatty was going to throw out anybody with how deep he was playing. I mean, Keith mentioned it in the broadcast. There is no way that he was going to throw at anybody. So you were basically giving up that run, even though you knew that the suicide squeeze was coming, because who's the batter?
Siani.
Siani is a guy that the only thing he can do right now is bunt. So you knew it was coming. You should have been positioned better. You should have been on the grass, not off the grass where Beatty was playing. And that's on the coaching staff right there. That's one of the only things that I would say that's on the coaching staff this series, was the positioning of Beatty in that play. And maybe we wouldn't have gone into extra innings. Maybe we would have had Edwin Diaz close the game out in the ninth because of Quintana's start.
Yeah, no, I agree with you there. I mean, it's tough because you saw the same play in the bottom of the eighth, where Lindor was thrown out at home for that same kind of ball that was played. They were just playing more in, and who was it? Was able to their shortstop was able to gun him down. And I don't know if that's I don't know that like you said, it is on the coaching staff, and probably Mendoza. He probably made a bad call there. Maybe not knowing the situation. That's one of those rookie manager mistakes that we'll give him a grace period on. But also because he was able to come back into the later in the game and make some good decisions. We saw him let Quintana pitch the eighth. He went in, talked to his vet, got a feel for him, and let him finish off the inning, which was a huge confidence booster for him as well. And Ottavino was there ready to go. And it's not like he didn't have any options, like we saw the Cardinals in the bottom of the 11th, leaving Liberatore out there for 3 innings, which is crazy. But he went to his veteran. He asked him, "Are you good to go?" And he trusted him to get that last batter, which was so important. So I'll give him grace there. And at the same time, if we were able to hit Lance Lynn a lot more than what we did, then we wouldn't have been in that situation. We saw, like I said earlier, Brandon Donovan make some stellar plays out there in left field, which was robbing a lot of hitters from hits. And Bradley,
especially Tyrone Taylor.
yeah, man, he made 3 stellar plays. He's probably got his what is that stat? I forget what it's called.
The run prevention.
The run. No, it's like a stat. But anyway, he was able to. I can't remember it. But anyway, he was able to kind of take some runs off the board there, and keep the Mets at bay. But also, we just weren't able to continue to string together runs because even in the bottom of the 6th, we had second and third, second and third, 1 out maybe. Brett Beatty had gotten the ground rule double to get what was it, Jade? No, it was DJ Stewart or something like that, over to third, and you just had guys pop up, strike out, and not really do anything. And that's just bad baseball. This is what we've been talking about since the beginning. We need to be able to string together those runs and not get ourselves into a situation where we're not giving our pitcher a chance to get the win. That's just what it comes down to, and something that we're gonna have to see change. But this is something that we've been talking about for this whole series. All of our losses seem to be this way.
Yeah, no, for sure. Very inconsistent bats, which is the theme of our club right now. And but we had a bright spot in this game. We had Mark Vientos walk it off. Big 2-run homer in the 11th. They left Libertor in, even though they still had two pitchers that hadn't pitched in the series in the bullpen. So I don't know what Marmo was doing there. Guess he didn't trust those pitchers that were left in there, and Libertor used to be a starter, so his arm can go a little bit longer than most, but it's just one of those things where you got to take advantage of what they give you. And I would say the going out to the Mets standout of the series, and it has to be Marky V. You know what I mean? Come up yesterday, get a big pinch hit right off the bat. We didn't mention Marte going on the bereavement list. Hope everything's okay, and hope he gets back soon. Should be back in the next couple of days, so no worries there. But Marky V comes up, and like you said, pinch hitting. It wasn't even getting the starts. So obviously Beatty's still the starting third baseman, but Beatty, watch out.
No, he's got nothing to worry about. He's earned that spot with just as good as he's played in that first month of the series, and he's of the season, and he's been able to continue to keep his head above water. Obviously, he had that injury where his hamstring was a little messed up, and ever since he came back, he's been getting back into the groove of things. But Beatty, this is last year all over again. Everyone lost confidence in him because he had a bit of a slump, and his slump last year was a lot longer than it is this year. Because even today, he had a double and a walk, I think, and he was able to produce. It's not like he's batting below the Mendoza line and not doing anything. But Mark Vientos, this is the argument that we made that we didn't need JD Martinez because we had a guy like Mark Vientos there. And we understood that, it made Pete feel more comfortable having JD Martinez back behind him. But at this point, we realized that doesn't matter. That Pete's going to produce the same no matter who he has behind him. And it just seems like I don't want to say we made a mistake because JD Martinez is still producing. But when you have a young guy playing like that, you might as well take a shot on him. And this isn't anything new because he was playing like this in spring training. So I don't know what you're going to do with him now. We just got to figure it out because I don't want to see this guy sent down again. Imagine what that does to his confidence. Imagine what that does to his game. And if he has to send somebody else down, the Mets out. This is one of those good problems that I was talking about at the beginning of the episode. Is now you have 3 DHs that are doing well, and Joey Wendell. What's going to happen with him because he seems to be the odd man out.
Well, you never know. I don't think that's the case. I think they'll send Vientos down when Marte comes back. But I do understand how Mets Nation is feeling about that because Wendell doesn't. We didn't even see him all series, right? He didn't even smell the bat to this series because the pinch hitters were Vientos over him and DJ Stewart over him. So I do understand what you're saying, but I do think that they want Vientos playing every day, and that's the only reason that he's going to go back down.
Yeah, my thing is, how often are you going to see Jeff McNeil or off his feet? How often are you going to see Francisco Lindor off his feet? If you have to split at bats with Brett Beatty, not doing what you do with DJ Stewart, but playing him 1 game out of 3 or something like that, then that might be more worth it having Joey Wendell play 1 game out of 3. Or how often are you going to see Joey Wendell play? You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, I hear what you're saying. You don't want to see him kill his development for just being up here on the bench. But this is, again, what we were talking about. But either way, I think you're going to make a lot of Mets fans mad again, sending him down for a second time after what he's done But this is the argument that you made at the beginning of the season, and here we are. This just a couple months later. The Mets have the same situation. They could have had the same situation earlier on, give him more development, but now they're just at a loss for what to do because here they are again doing the same thing. And they I don't know what they're going to do with Mark Vientos, but they can't trade him. They can't send him. What are they going to do with him?
Well, this is the problem, right? This is why I told you that he didn't come up in the first place. The only difference is that JD actually came up and started hitting right away. So obviously right now there isn't a spot for Vientos to play unless he takes Beatty's spot. And according to you, there's no threat there. That's the only spot that he can take. Like, it'd be great to have him come off the bench, but I don't think the Mets want that. I think that they want him playing every single day and being ready for when the time comes for, if an injury happens or anything else happens. And because at this point, Beatty could be a possibility of getting hurt, tweaking the hamstring. He's already tweaked the hamstring, and JD is an old man, so who knows? He might be coming up to spell those guys for a couple weeks, and I do think they want him playing every day. But going to our concerns, that's not so much of a concern because the guys that are in the way are producing, right? JD and DJ and we're not thinking that Beatty's has right now risk of losing his spot, even though if he continues to not hit, I think they'll choose offense over defense if he continues to struggle. That's why I say Beatty better be careful if he doesn't start hitting. At least, and he doesn't need to hit for power. He just needs to do what he was doing in the beginning of the season and getting those timely hits.
I know you say that, but you saw like you're another guy that you are dying to talk about, Harrison Bader. They're not sacrificing offense for defense there because we saw Tyrone Taylor, continue to hit, and he didn't get a hit today, but he was able to get some hard hit balls out there, and just like we said, get robbed again. But that's one of those guys that is a better defensive player than an offensive player, and we've seen him get more starts than Tyrone Taylor. And so I think that's one of those things that, I think David Stern's philosophy is always run prevention, and he's not going to sacrifice that for offense.
Well, but that's different when it comes to the Tyrone Taylor because Tyrone Taylor isn't a bad defensive player. It's just Bader's better. So so the comparison between Beatty, Vientos, and Bader Taylor is that Taylor is a good defensive player. So you're not going to lose a lot on the defensive side with Taylor. And if he's hitting the ball harder than Bader is, then by all means, let's play him some more. I understand that you gave Bader $12 million, but platoon him a little bit more. Bader doesn't need to play every single day. They are both. Again, hear me again. They are both fourth outfielders.
Yeah, no, I hear what you're saying. But back with Vientos, we know that nothing's going to happen there. That Harrison Bader is going to continue to get the playing time, and Tyrone Taylor is going to come into situations like he has, in this series. And I think we'll see more of what you talked about last episode, where he comes in to face more lefty batters. But we'll see what Mendoza continues to put out there, and I've been happy with it so far. With Beatty, it's just a situation where you have two guys that are playing great ball, and at the trade deadline, what do? If you're buyers, then are you trading away Mark Vientos to get a good bat? Because all he's done here is proven his worth and gotten you a better trade at the trade deadline. And we know that he's going to continue to hit in AAA. And if you're sellers, or if you're still buyers, do you just sell JD Martinez? Like, what do you do here?
No, well, yeah, I don't think we're ever going to get to the point where we're going to be selling. The question will only be if if Stearns thinks we're good enough to be buyers. We might stay in put, but I don't think we're going to be selling because one, I think we're going to stay in it. You know, in the fight as you know through the trade deadline. So that's going to say we're not going to be sellers. But the question will be, will we be buyers? Because it's not either or. Because stand put is an option too, right? So I think too often we think of that we have to do either or, but in this case we can stand pat because at the end of the day we this is a bridge year for next year, right? So he might think that yeah, we might be doing well, but some of the prospects that people might be wanting, he might be wanting to play, right? Because and let's jump into the concerns because at this point let's just jump into it. My biggest concern, it's still McNeil. McNeil's not hitting the guy where he's hitting in, and I know Acuna hasn't gotten off to the good start, but it's he's had a good weekend, and maybe he's starting to warm up. And if Acuna starts hitting, and we still continue to see McNeil not producing, we're going to be calling, all the Met fans, including myself, we're going to be calling for Acuna to come up. He's on the 40 man, so you don't got to make room. And all you got to do is DFA Wendell because, like you said, you're ready to already DFA him. So if McNeil's not producing, he can sit on the bench and be the Wendell that's not producing, just like Wendell. And so if Acuna continues to produce in the next month or so, I could see him coming up.
Yeah, he looks good too down in AAA, and I could see him coming up, but I don't see him coming up anytime soon. That'll be a next year kind of move. If McNeil has the season he's having, unless he forces their hand, I don't think we're going to see him up. But we saw that I mean, this is the same argument you can have with Mark Vientos. He forced their hand, and you still see him down in AAA and not being able to force his way up. I think that's just Stern's philosophy that when you have a competent bat or a competent enough glove to play the field and you get a couple of hits and keep an average above 200, then your job isn't in jeopardy just yet. And Jeff McNeil, I think is going to be okay. This was like the least I've been concerned with McNeil so far this year. And maybe that's just because he had a great road trip where he's coming off of a bunch of a whole bunch of hits together, and he didn't have a great series this time around. But he was coming back to the McNeil type of hitting that we know, just blooping the ball into the outfield. And he had one at bat like that today where he was able to do that. And if he can continue to kind of get an eye out for that, I think once the warm weather comes, McNeil is going to be just fine.
I don't know. He had one hit all series long, and so he's the one guy that I will continue to be concerned about because we're just not seeing it. We're just not seeing the like you said, he had a good series, but that's just one out of all year that he's had, and so but we'll leave it there with the concerns. My concern is going to be, and it all depends on Acuna. If Acuna doesn't produce, this is a moot point, right? We're not going to see Acuna. But if Acuna forces their hand, and he's setting the world on fire down in AAA, we're going to keep hearing the whispers of Acuna wanting coming up if McNeil doesn't start producing.
That could be. That could be. We'll just have to wait and see. And the great news is this is all good stuff to be concerned about. Not McNeil, obviously, but the fact that we have guys in AAA, the fact that we have prospects coming up. Our farm system looks hot, y'all. It looks really good down there. I got to watch myself a couple of minor league games this year or this past weekend, and it got me really excited. But my concern really was just with the starting pitching. Starting pitching wasn't able to keep us in games besides today. And when starting pitching was able to keep us in games, we weren't able to produce with the runs. That's just been kind of the Mets' way of losing these past couple of years, it seems. And but my concern is that we have options. We have options and we've already voiced what options that we have. But hopefully, we see some of those guys up soon. We're obviously not going to see that this week, but Hauser has another start like that this week, then it can be sooner than we expect.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. McGill will be coming back soon, and I kind of agree with your point earlier. I would like to see Lil Casey get a shot if Hauser continues to look the way he looks. But let's get to the who's right part of the podcast. Let's talk about it. Well, obviously, the standout player for the Mets was Vientos, and since he wasn't up here yet, none of us got that point. so you picked Sean Reed Foley as a pitching standout, and I picked Diaz, and they both did well. But if we want to really talk about the standout, it has to be Quintana going 8 innings, and so. That's got to be the guy that stood out for the pitching side. As far as the Cardinals Mets killer part of it, you chose Arenado. He had a okay series. I had Contreras. I don't know. I think I got that one.
Yeah, I'll give it to you. Contreras has been their best hitter for this whole entire season, and that's not saying much because they've been awful. Goldschmidt looked horrible, and Arenado. They're talking about it in the broadcast when he was that last at bat he had with Edwin Diaz. He just looked lost at the plate, and it seemed like he was spotting the ball, but he just didn't know what to do with it. And so we can't say that Arenado really did much this series except get a couple of hits. But Contreras, homering, getting some of these RBIs in. I'll give that to you. He definitely killed the Mets a little bit this series.
Yeah. Wasn't to the point that we couldn't win, because I think we if our bats would have been consistent, I think we could have pulled out the series. But yeah, Contreras was the guy, and yeah, they were talking about Arenado, a lot of indecision in his swings.
Yeah, who else killed us though was Brandon Donovan on defense. He killed us today. But that was just one game. He plays great defense, but Wilson Contreras was great all series long.
Yeah,
so you get the point.
Sure. Yeah, and actually he helped us out by not knowing how many outs were there and getting doubled off in the 11th. So, so yes, let's go Contreras. Keep helping us out like that. But let's preview the next series. We got a 4-game series coming up against the Cubs. And tomorrow, Monday, today, Monday, when you're hearing this, we got Taillon against Severino. This is a good opportunity for Severino to back up Quintana's start and have a awesome start of his own. I think he could do it. Taillon's been looking good since he's been back from the IL. On Tuesday, we have Assad versus Minaya. Again, pressure's on with Minaya. He talked about the last start not being his worst start. Hopefully, he gets a little bit fire under him and is more consistent. Gets away from the walks. And then I think the best game to look forward to is on Wednesday with Imanaga and Buto. Imanaga was your guy that you wanted to sign in the off season, and he's looking good. He's looking the price of admission, and hopefully Buto can bounce back and have the field first pitches and show us the guy that we're hoping he can be. And then on Thursday we have Ben Brown versus Hauser. Not much of a pitching matchup. most likely that'll be a high scoring game unless Hauser can surprise us all.
Yeah, yeah. There's gonna be some great pitching in this series, just not from that game. That might be another 17 run game like we saw on Friday night or Saturday night when Ben Brown pitched last. He gave up only 3 runs, but the promising thing is also that I don't know how great their bullpen is. I think they have one of the better ones in baseball. But I think it's also one of those things that we just need to get to their bullpen. All these guys that we're going to see from Monday to Wednesday are going to be tough. And this is something that we are used to. We know that we have to get to the bullpen fast, and that's how we're going to be able to get to them. But who I'm excited to see this series is Imanaga. This is who we were talking about in the offseason, the hidden gem. While everyone was distracted by Yoshinobu Yamamoto, Imanaga was here waiting in the shadows. I think all the shine going to Yoshinobu kind of made Imanaga upset. It seems like because he's pitching with some vengeance now. He's got a below 1 ERA. He's got 4 wins on the season. He's their best pitcher right now. That's going to be a real test for Budo and for the young guy to really step up, because it could be a really big pitching duel. But it can also be where we make everything fall apart with Shota, because we know he has good stuff, but not great stuff. And I think if we're able to get his pitch count up, get to him early, then the Mets can do what they continue to do and beat up on the bullpen.
Yeah, no, this is going to be a fun series. This is also going to be the time that we get to see Counsell come into town, and for the first time since he kind of used us to get more money from the Cubs. And so, obviously we're going to give him a warm welcome. But so this is going to be an exciting series, I think. They're not going to have Bellinger because he's out on the IL. So I think this is going to be a fun series, and I'm looking forward to it. So let's get to the Mets standout of the game, and I'm gonna go first this time, and I'm gonna take the lead on this one, and I think the Mets standout for this series is going to be JD Martinez.
Man, so my guy. After seeing him bat so well, I think both of us can say that we're gonna eat our words and kind of back him up until he proves us wrong and gives us a reason not to. But that's a great pick. I think he's gonna do well this series, and I hope that he continues to produce. But I'm gonna go in a different direction. I'm actually gonna go back to your boy because he's seems like he's hitting the ball. He had a home run in this last series and was able to tie up the game yesterday. On Sunday. I actually thought you were going to win the who's right part by picking Francisco Lindor, but that's going to be my boy this time. I'm going to go back to Francisco Lindor. I think he's going to continue to string together a great season, a bounce back, and let's hope that he's able to get on base for JD to drive in those runs.
Yeah, no, that's he had a great, had a good game today. Home run and a couple walks. Had a steal, which is part of why we like him at the top of the lineup. Even leadoff. And so, I'm hoping that he does break out and stays broken out. Doesn't have these inconsistencies. But I'll let you go first with the pitcher of the series. Who do you think is going to be the pitcher of the series?
I think this series is going to be set off on a good note. I think that we're going to go out there. We're going to take the first game because our starting pitcher was able to get us through 8 innings, just like by being encouraged by Quintana the day before. So Severino is going to shine. just like he did previously. He's going to prove those haters wrong that keep on thinking that he's washed, and he's going to pitch a gem on Monday night's game.
No, that's an awesome pick. I'm hoping that you're right because I want to see Severino, you know, be that guy because I think he can be. Yeah, I think he's on the verge of doing so. So I do like that pick that you got there. But what the funny part is, I'm also going to pick a starting pitcher, and since he's going to go against Imanaga, I'm gonna go with my man Budo. Budo is going to be the guy that's going to stand out because I think he wants to bounce back. He wants to keep that pressure on Hauser as the other guys are starting to come back. And so I think Buto's going to be the guy that is going to stand out. And hopefully they both stand out. Hopefully they both go 8 innings, because Quintana today went 8 innings with 100 pitches or under 100 pitches. And so, if you keep your count down, attack the zone. Obviously, we saw, with the Giants attacking the zone, going 7 innings, and now Sonny Gray was attacking the zone. When you do that, you can go longer in the games. Just attack the zone, get away from the walks, and hopefully we see a more consistency out of our pitching and give the bullpen a rest. One guy that I'm surprised we continue not to pick out of the pitching is Garrett. That guy is a guy that keeps going. Got the win again today.
Yeah, I got a win with him. I got a point with him 1 week, and I just and it's not that we forget about him, but I think we're all on the edge of our seats, waiting for something bad to happen. We hope that it doesn't, but it's just magical what he's continued to be able to do. I think if we both had an alternate, though, we would both pick Sean Manaea to bounce back from his last start because he, like we said, he's probably playing with the fire under him, and it's going to try to go out there and pitch a gem as well. So exciting pitching matchups for this series. And I'm excited to see all the pitching duels that we hopefully get to see.
Yeah. No, me too. So I'll let you go first again. Who do you think is going to be the Mets killer? Let's jump into the Mets killer part of the section.
Yeah, this one's a little harder because I don't follow the Cubs too much, but there's one name that does stick out there, and someone that was a killer on the Braves. Tried to take the spot from, or I think he did take the All-Star spot from Lindor one season. But Dansby Swanson, he's not off to a hot season so far. He's still trying to figure it out. He's only batting .245 with the 708 OPS, but he continues to bat well. I think he's batting towards the end of their lineup as well. He's batting like 6 or 7 right now, but I don't think that matters when we're talking about Mets killers because they're always the odd man out. And Dansby Swanson has a chance to really burn the Mets again. And I hate him when he was in Atlanta. So that's gonna be my pick.
Yeah, I know you're learning from picking these ex NL East players and running a flyer on those guys, and that's a good pick. But the guy that's been hot for them right now is Mike Talkman, and that's going to be my guy. Again, we pick these guys, these Mets killers, to be a thorn, but never to be the guy, so we can take over these series. So there you got it, another W. For me, just because young Padawan's still learning.
We'll see.
So let's we've been at this for a long time. Let's get to the news and notes section, and we're also going to dive into the minor leagues a little bit in this section. Obviously we talked about Marte going on the bereavement list. Again, hope he's back in the next couple of days or so, and hope everything is okay. But one of the injuries that we got to talk about is one of the guys that we talked about in spring training, and Tommy John surgery for Nate Lavender.
Yeah, It's a shame. Nate, I think is going to be okay. I think I listened to a podcast talking about that injury and talking about the prospect that he's going to be. He's still a young guy, uh, flamethrower. He tops at 100 and something on the gun, and it's a shame, but I know a lot of people are worried because they see all the injuries that he's sustained in the past few years. But this is his first Tommy John surgery. We knew that it was going to happen. Let's just hope that when he comes back, the pitching analytics aren't what they are now, so that these guys can stay healthy when they come up to the major leagues. But hoping for a successful surgery there because he's going to be exciting when he comes up.
No, for sure, for sure. Hopefully, good, a quick recovery, and we'll see him next year. We had a couple rehab starts. We had Tyler McGill and David Peterson get out there and look pretty good. Obviously, their rehab starts, so they only pitched a couple of innings because it was the first rehab start. But again, the pressure's on either Hauser or Buto to get it going because the cavalry's coming.
Yeah, they got what 4 or 5 starts yet left to kind of prove themselves, and maybe they don't even have that long because David Peterson's set to return May 27th. He made a start today. I'm not sure if they can bring him up before that, but I don't think that they will. Either way, and this is someone that we were excited to see last year pitch. One of those Tyler McGill types as well, and someone that can really sustain our bullpen, or I'm sorry, our lineup, our rotation, so that we can kind of have stability there and not have to have any gaps because that's what it seems like we have right now is a lot of gaps in our starting rotation. And so hopefully we're just waiting for these guys to come up, and I'm excited to see them soon.
Yeah, no, me too, me too. So hopefully they'll come up soon so we can get some reinforcements going. So I'll hand it over to you because you wanted to talk about the minor league report. So I'll let you take it over.
Yeah, like I said, I was able to catch a couple of games this past weekend, and I'm gonna throw you guys back down to single A because I'm sure that you guys hear a lot about double and triple A. But one exciting game from this past weekend was the Brooklyn Cyclones game where we had Sean McClain, and he looked amazing, man. He looked fire. He looked like he was playing great. There was a time where he came up to bat, 2 men out, bases loaded, and they pulled their starters so that they could have um, uh, someone else face Sean McClain. And what does he do? He blasts a 2-run double. So to give the Cyclones a lead, and that's the type of stuff that we're excited to see. He's been batting so great down there, but he's also been throwing well, and they had Brandon Sproat starting as well, and he's another starter that is going to be exciting to see coming up. Obviously, they're all in high A right now, so they have a long way to go, but just encouraging signs to see from our development again.
Yeah, no, absolutely. With McLean, he's both pitching and hitting, which is awesome. So I'm excited to. Yeah, our future looks good. Sproat down there, Clifford in high A, McLean in high A. All those guys are doing their thing. Obviously they're a long ways away because they're down in high A, but loving that we get to talk about good things happening in our farm system.
Absolutely. Keep them
Uh,
coming.
yeah, no, absolutely. So before we get out of here, hey guys, let us know what you think. Comment. What do you think? We talked about the concerns with McNeil. with our pitching staff. How are you guys feeling about everything? We kind of lost 2 series in a row. So how are you feeling about it? Give us a comment. Let us know what you feel, and also like this video, subscribe to the channel, and let's keep it going. But before we get out of here, Victor, any last words?
Just that the sky is painted blue and orange today, boys and girls. The Mets got their walk-off win, but you know who else got a win? The New York Knicks. They were able to go up 3-1 on the 76ers and 1 win away from advancing into round 2. So that's exciting stuff. Let's go blue and orange. Let's continue to see New York sports thrive.
Absolutely, absolutely. Knicks winning. Giants had a decent draft in the NFL draft. So let's hope that New York sports, especially Knicks, Mets, and Giants, start going. Rangers are having about to close it out, maybe potentially sweep the series tonight. At the time that we're recording it, they're still playing, but they're up 2-0. One thing, or they're up 2-2. It's a 2-2 ball game, but hockey game. But we also forgot to mention the City Connect uniforms. They looked live. They look pretty good. Again, I can't wait to get my merch so I can start showing out with it. But it looked pretty good. I was just hoping that we would have gotten the win that day.
Yeah, no, both of our nights were spoiled. The Friday night baseball with JD Martinez return and the City Connect debuts. But those pants look fire, man. I think the jersey, the pants, the hat, the helmet, they all blend together perfectly. I knew that when we saw them out in the field, we would have a change of mind and our thoughts would be settled, and that's exactly what happened. Love to see it. Might have to get myself one of those Kodai Senga jerseys. Could you see the ones with the Japanese print on the back? Those are tough. Those jerseys. Those go hard.
Yeah, no, absolutely, absolutely. So hopefully, exciting times are coming. But until the next series, let's go Mets.
Mets.